This is a natal chart reading for Carolyn. Carolyn, thank you so much for your interest in this. I like to first look at the big three in a birth chart. Those are the primary motivators for behavior. So we'll start there and then we will kind of explore some other areas. I think that your chart is very interesting right off the bat because we have the red triangles here, so we'll talk about that. This is unique to your chart. Not everybody has this. And then we see this kind of sets a theme for your chart overall. A lot of polar energies, and ultimately, your chart is really mutable energy. So that shows me right away that you're hoping to go with the flow of life, even when there are different energies coming at you. You're really hoping that the growth that you make in life will leave you more open-minded and accepting of the flow of whatever is meant to be. So let's start with your rising sign in Virgo. A Virgo rising person. This is the constellation that was rising on the eastern horizon as you were taking your first breath in this world. So your Virgo rising is part of you. This is part of your personality. This is how you are going to experience new things in your life. Just like the sun dawns on the earth, this is how you dawn on other people and how life experiences dawn on you. So you're going to be someone that when people first meet you, you're going to express this energy of Virgo, which is interesting for you since your sun sign is the opposite or the sister sign to Virgo, which is Pisces. So your presence has this Virgo energy to it, and it's also being filtered through these energies of Pluto and Uranus. So this gives you a very strong first impression that you make on people. There's something unconventional about you. There's something intense about you. And there's something about you that makes people feel like you're going to bring some kind of order to chaos around you. This is a person that when people first meet you, they don't feel like you're intimidated by chaos. They feel like you thrive in it. This could mean that earlier in life or part of what you experience in life now is it tends to be chaotic. Things get thrown off course, or you find yourself handling situations that seem very transformative or just completely upside down. And when you feel like you are there, you're able to make some sense of it for other people or just roll with the punches, so to speak, and keep things moving, not get caught up in how chaotic life can seem at times. This gives the energy of somebody who would make like a really good first responder because you're just very much like you don't get the shell shock that other people get. You have this ability in you to handle in extremes of what life can throw at you. So this is somebody who people look at you as some type of authority sometimes, like, hey, what should we do right now? Everything's chaotic. They look to you to bring some kind of order or make sense of things. This is unique to you because Pluto and Uranus, these planets right here, they don't sit that close to everyone's ascendant. The rising sign is very sensitive to how you are making impressions on people and how you handle all types of new situations in life. So, with the powerful planet here of Pluto, which is like intensity and transformation, you embody that energy. So, this could mean too that you've gone through personal transformations in your own life, that you feel like maybe you've already lived like many lives in this one life, that how you look and present yourself today may be completely a 180 of how you used to. And maybe you felt like you've done that a few times. The rebirth is strong in you. There's an intensity to you that people will assume that you've been through things, that you have some wisdom to share with others. You're seen as somebody who can handle a lot and maybe has been through a lot, and that whatever gets thrown at you is not going to knock you off course. With the Virgo rising, you come off as somebody who is well put together too, that you have some kind of logical head on your shoulders. This is an earth sign of practicality, logic. It's ruled by Mercury, which is our sign of communication and mental energy. With that and your moon sign being ruled by Mercury, you come off with this like intellectual strength that you're able to communicate well. Your Mercury actually is in the sign of Pisces, which is not the most comfortable place for Mercury. So it doesn't mean that discussions can't get convoluted, but there's this ability of you to have the intellectual insight of situations around you and be able to understand what is happening around you. Whether or not you choose to speak on that is different. That's a different part of communicating, but you're able to perceive and understand, collecting data of what the situation is and what it needs. And it gives you this one up on the situations that you go into because you're able to organize new information and decide what you're going to do or not do based on that. Basically, you can trust your intuition on these things that once you've organized the information of a new situation, you will know what you are going to do based on that. So that just incorporates all of this energy into being someone that people are going to see as a strong power when you first come in on the scene of things, an ability to change the energy or the situation of what's going around you. So while I'm talking about like these polarities in your chart, one of them right off the bat is that your sun sign is in the sister sign of your rising sign. So, where some of us have the same or a flow, yours goes into the opposite direction. So, this gives the impression of somebody that you can see both sides of an argument. You might be a good mediator. You have the ability to not get caught up in one-sided thinking or tunnel vision of things. You have a sun in Pisces, which gives you this um, rising above the ego sort of personality. If the sun is the center of our solar system, in our chart, it's the center of our chart. It takes the light. If we follow the light of the sun in our chart, we usually feel some sort of alignment in self. Yours being in the Pisces, this is the end of ego. This is where ego goes back to the collective. So for you in life, you're really going to shine in the areas of your life where it's not about you so personally. It's maybe about a cause, or in the sixth house, providing some service, feeling useful to society at large or the people close to us. You're really going to shine wherever you're giving of yourself that takes you out of self. And this is the solution sometimes to when the Virgo rising personality can get kind of stuck in this hamster wheel of circling thoughts, repetitive thinking, overthinking, overanalyzing. The Pisces sun is your way to balance that out and be free of self completely. Step out of self, doing things for the sake of humanity at large or somebody else, and feeling that it's not about me. It's a supportive role that really helps you balance that Virgo mental energy that gets stuck in self. This is a way to step out of that, is following your sun and feeling like you're providing some sort of help to others. Pisces can sometimes even be the martyr, that they're so outside of self that every cause seems like a worthy cause for their time and energy. They can be so giving that they forget to take care of their own basic needs because they just followed this compassionate feeling, and then there was no time left for them. So here we have somebody that needs to watch out for that because ultimately, when you come into this world, there are things that you're trying to accomplish. And being a Pisces sun, you can wind up getting swept away by other people's needs for you. So creating healthy boundaries is going to be important for you because whenever the sun is in the sixth house, we see that people sometimes become physically worn out by others who are just taking so much from these people. So as much as you love to give and help people and be useful, you are to remember that you actually need to spend time taking care of your own vessel, which is your body. Eating well, holistic care for self are going to be things that are especially important for you because your body will be sensitive to over expending energy. And the Pisces sun person has this bleeding heart for people who are in need. So you're just more sensitive and more likely to drain your batteries all the way down and then maybe physically feel the burnout because of that. So we want to make sure that in the sixth house, you have a steady daily routine or rituals that you do every day before you go out into the world and help everybody else. That you've done certain things routinely so that you're able to maintain the health of your vessel so you can go and be that compassionate person. Sometimes with the Virgo rising person, they have a lot of thoughts and ideas. They have great plans, and the Pisces sun person will forego those plans to spontaneously be of service to someone. And then we see that the action piece is missing, that actually following through with the routine becomes an afterthought and maybe doesn't actually have any type of staying power in the daily routines. But it's very important for you that that actually does happen. So when we see these opposing energies, is what we call this. When we have the two opposing energies, we have like this seesaw, right? You have two over here and you have a whole bunch over here. So your chart is always in this seesaw motion of you and others, but also you, because you are a Pisces sun, sixth house on this side of the seesaw. So collectively, you're very much interested in other people in your life. So even though we would say the rising sign and strong personality traits are in your first house, when you're with partners in life, seventh houses, partnerships, marriages, are significant others that in this Pisces energy, you collectively bleed into that too. So you really feel yourself, but you really feel connected to your other person. Having a partnership, a marriage will be a high motivator in your life. Feeling that you are connected to another person so much so that you feel part of them. When they feel something, you feel it too. It's almost the psychic connection that you're looking for. It's so important to you that it can be this almost personality shift in self because their needs and their desires, you kind of become that while still having this other side of you that is independent. So you balance this act where you're in self and you're also in someone else. But for you, you have this all mutable energies, big three. We look to your moon sign to sort of see how can we help balance this better. When you have these red lines looking like a triangle, we call that a T-square. You have the two energies. We look to the top of that to help us in this conflict resolution state. Up here is your moon sign. That's the last of our big three. So we'll go talking about that. Your moon sign here is to help you balance these two opposing forces. Do you embody the Virgo rising energy? Do you maintain your independence? Um, do you work in the energy of the earth, the practical bringing forth your talents to the world and making something of it for yourself? Or do you live in your seventh house where your partner's needs are so psychically connected to your own that you put your Virgoian to-do list on hold so that you can take care of partner and fulfill their desires? Well, if we look up here, your moon sign, where actually need your emotional security is in Gemini, and it actually is saying, well, meet me at the top here. Our highest aspirations is this arrow. When you are striving towards your highest expression of self, when you're really working to become publicly recognized for whatever it is you seek to achieve in life, you'll naturally balance these two things out. So this would suggest that you get your emotional security from whatever you feel like your calling in life is to do. So MC, the best way I describe this is if we were at a party together and I just met you and I said, "What do you do for a living?" The answer that you give me is your MC. It's how we publicly are perceived by others. It's what our social reputation becomes. Most people answer this with their jobs, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's whatever you feel like really is your staple of how you want to be socially received to the world. So this would say that for you, whatever the answer to that question is, it needs to be emotionally connected to you. And in the sign of Gemini, this would put some flair for the communication piece again. So you have a very active mind, and this would lead to some sort of ability to connect with other people. This opposing energy here of self and another person actually gives you a one up in life because you already feel so closely connected to the needs of other people around you. You feel them on a level that other people don't. So you could actually take this, combine it to publicly use that skill in some type of calling. This is the energy of somebody who might be good at many things. Gemini is very curious about lots of things, and it's very good at multitasking and having so many interests that they just have this variety of skills. Maybe you're not somebody that's pigeonholed to any one career. Maybe you have a flair for many different talents. And when you feel called to do that, you go and explore it. Your Jupiter is in the 10th house too, and this expands that. So this gives you opportunity maybe to explore many different things in life. Maybe you have had a few different careers, or maybe you do multiple jobs instead of just one at a time. This would suggest that you have natural ease in your career, with Jupiter being our planet of luck and fortune, of opportunity. And this would say that you have a higher calling outside of home. This is our private life, our home, calling outside of self, a calling outside of your partnerships, that you're called to do something larger than that for the sake of the public world, that your image in the public is significant, and that maybe you're somebody that brings people together on a social scale. Gemini is sociable. It is the conversation starter. Doesn't necessarily mean extroverted, but it is this openness to receiving and being part of a conversation. And you might be really good at talking to people and really getting them to emotionally open up and connect. Because although the moon in Gemini is not really the most emotional person, when your moon is on the MC, you bring out emotions in other people. You might know how to get people to talk about things that they don't want to talk about, or they try to cover up. You're able to get people to be a little emotional. People can feel safe with you. You get them talking, and before they know it, maybe they're crying or laughing again when they haven't in a while. And this is a skill that makes you feel good about yourself too. And it seems to be a way to pull you up into this higher calling in self that makes you feel really high achieving and fulfilled. So there's vocational gains, and that doesn't always mean that it's your career. It could just be something that when you're around people, you find that you're good at this, and it makes you feel good about yourself too. And when you're doing things like that, it helps you ease the challenge of either being caught in self, of overthinking things, or maybe feeling like the intensity of whatever life happens to you, because there's an intensity here. Things have happened in your life. Maybe that you have an interesting story that other people don't have, and maybe that was heavy. And maybe you're in self a lot because of that. Maybe you have this internal dialogue that is private, maybe, but is constantly on. And it's just a very active mind. Or you're caught in other people, your partnerships, which is great because that's important to you. But this would suggest that when you go towards the moon sign of following your gifts that you're able to use to help the public at large, that it really helps get you out of self and helps from getting you feel too codependent in relationships. This is a way to channel other gifts that you have and possibly get paid for it. So that covers our big three. And it also covers that T square that we were talking about, this red line square. So it's interesting when I'm looking at your chart because it's just is these aspect patterns is what we call this. Sometimes they involve other planets or outer planets that aren't the key big three motivator planets or luminaries. But yours did. Your big three actually is that T square. So it's almost this wanting to bring this challenge to everyday awareness. So either you have a lot of energy that you can handle this every day, or you feel exhausted a lot because this is a challenge that is so close to consciousness and personality that you have this three-way struggle on a very awareness level. So, like a on the main levels of our consciousness, you feel this. So, taking care of yourself is really important, finding ways to keep your energy levels high. And they're all in what we call these mutable energies. So they all have something in common that they do have this great ability to be adaptable. When you feel stuck in any part, you can trust that something is going to move and flow to where you don't have to be stuck in any of these energies longer than you need to. The mutable signs are the energies that help us all remember that life goes on, that we need to move on, just like the seasons eventually change. It's the mutable signs that are at the end of every season that move us to the next one. So Gemini helps us move out of spring into summer, and Virgo helps us move out of summer into fall, and Pisces helps us move out of winter into spring. So all of these energies for you, you have this innate ability to do that. You bring that to the table, and that might be what helps you relate so much to other people and help them open up too. You offer this hope almost for other people to see that, like, yes, this happened, or yes, this is happening, but I know that tomorrow's a new day, or I know that eventually we're going to get through this. And, that this too shall pass might be your motto. You know that, and you embody that, and you're an example of that to other people around you. And you can use that to your strength when you feel like something just feels like this is never going to end. You can trust and tap into that side of you that actually knows that no, life is all about seasons of change. I trust that. And when something knocks me off course, I know that I can bounce back. I am adaptable. If this is the way it is now, I can handle that and I'll just rearrange the way I do things to match what is. I'm not going to get stuck in I have to do it this way. And I'm not going to feel like I'm going to just ram my head into the wall until it changes. You understand that life happens and you have to be changeable and adaptable sometimes. And being flexible is a strength of yours. And in your job, your career, your vocation, you're able to show that to other people. You might be able to handle working in very chaotic places because you bring order to chaos, but you also are flexible. You understand that things are not always going to go the way you want, and you're able to bounce back really fast. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the other planets in your chart, different energies that you have. The Venus sign is really one of the only energies in your chart that stands alone, and it is how we express our love nature in relationships. It's what we need to thrive in relationships, and it's overall a place where we can feel harmonious and peaceful in life. So yours is an Aquarius in the fifth house. So Aquarius is an air sign. This is right up your alley because the mutable energy itself always kind of reminds me of the air signs where there's a lot of intellectual focus. Really being mentally stimulated is going to be important for your overall well-being. You need to feel like you have an ability to solve a challenge or think about bigger pictures, see what needs to be changed in situations. You have this really innovative spirit about you, and it's a very loving energy for you. When you are helping somebody else become their best self, or even when you do that for your own self, it really brings you this like harmonious feeling, and it can really be a beautiful experience for you. You can you can push people to be their best selves. You can see it in them, what they could change or um, just zoom out of, get out of their own little tunnel vision. You have this ability to just have this unconventional view on things that can really change people's minds and hearts. And in the fifth house, you might really love being in love in general. The fifth house is where we go to be creative, express the joy that we feel from being alive. It's the house of our creations. Sometimes this can be creating children itself, that if you have children, that might be a very important part of your life. And you really enjoy people that just are childlike. So if you don't have children, that's okay. That's not necessarily what this means. You just might enjoy being around children or people who make you feel childlike, that really being in the moment is really a feeling of vitality and makes you feel alive and joy. Whoever can bring this out in you is going to be someone that you want to be around a lot. Feeling youthful and like you're just having fun is good. You need to make time for that in life because you could be a very busy person, but making time to have fun and really experiencing love affairs, getting a chance to feel part of a loving union, like we saw in your seventh house, but really expressing that, living that, and even in unconventional ways, because Aquarius doesn't always do things the way other people do them. So it could just be your own love language with somebody, but there's a way that you can express that with them, even through communication, having like unfiltered conversations or just being free to go down any rabbit hole with someone that sparks your interest might be a really rewarding experience for you. And making time for you to explore your own interests. So having hobbies or creative pastimes is important for you. You're going to need to feel like you do things for fun, just for the fun of it, for no other reason. That is something that you wanted to experience in this life. Now we're going to move on to Mars, the planet of assertion and drive, what really gets you motivated. In the seventh house, relationships, partnerships are going to be very desirable for you. You are somebody who, although you have this very strong independent energy, Uranus loves independence and being free to do what it wants. It is a important part of your ability to be human in this life that you connect with somebody else. It'll have to be that you still have an ability to be independent. This is a polarizing energy that as much as you love your partner, you need to spend time loving yourself too, because these powerhouses over here, Uranus and Pluto, won't tolerate too long of being too wrapped up in someone else. You're going to have to maintain your independence in life also, but that the ability for you to connect with a partner or spouse is really going to bring out this unconditional love of you, this softer energy of you. And this Pisces softness helps balance any hard views you've got from life experiences. It helps soften that and make you remember that being vulnerable and emotional is important for your well-being too. That they bring that out in you, and that is something that you want to experience. It gets you talking softer with Mercury there, that you want to find someone that you don't always have to have the right words or feel like, it's an intellectual match, somebody that is a safe, soft place for you to land to help you kind of just recharge your batteries and not feel like it's a chore or a challenge. There is Saturn in the seventh house, so sometimes that can mean feeling like it takes a while in life to find somebody who really brings that what you're looking for to the table. But Saturn always reminds us that we don't want to settle for this. We want to work on ourselves as long as we need to, and then we will get what we're looking for. There is maturity that comes with Saturn and self-discipline. So sometimes when it's in the seventh house, it can mean that we ourselves are more mature when we find our lasting partner or somebody who we feel like we really want to like dig roots with, other people before that may feel like they helped us learn more about ourselves, but once we really feel like we know ourselves well enough, then Saturn says, okay, I'm going to bring you your equal. And now that you know who you are and what you really stand for, and you've done the work on yourself, now here's your partner that's going to help with all the other interests that you had when joining a union. So if that's Saturn in the seventh house. Sometimes we're a little older in life when we find that partnership because we had to do the work on ourselves first for it to stick. But once it does stick, Saturn is the planet that we look for in compatibility readings to help keep the glue in the relationship. So once it is there, you can count on it to stay there. Sometimes it just takes a little while for that to happen. So, with the energy on the seventh house opposing the energy on the first house, you can see here too that there can be some conflict in relationships. There can be some pain in relationships. This is all to help us learn who we are. So, for you in particular, you're looking to learn about your ability to be autonomous, your ability to control yourself, your ability to parent yourself, to be free to do what you want and to be as radical as you want on your own, that you're not looking for approval from other people. These are early life themes that the authority in your life either didn't go well with what you thought you were, or you had some type of oppressed individuality. And there can be pain in relationships here with people not seeing you for who you are, or you feeling like you have to sacrifice self to be in the relationship. This Chiron and Mars opposing your Pluto and Uranus, these are things that bring that up. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because there can be anger towards partners who make you feel like you're either reliving themes of childhood that weren't comfortable, or that in general you feel like partners take away some type of your independence, or there's challenges there that are hard to work through sometimes. But the idea is to learn to to find that balance and to be open to still seeking out these partnerships because that was important to you to find a harmonious union with somebody at some point and to heal the wounds of relationships that didn't go well in the beginning. So, so this is a cycle, this is a theme. This is going to keep happening for you until you own those parts of yourself and then find balance with the partnerships to heal any past feelings that might have limited your desire to seek out new ones. And for the sake of time, I think we're getting to where let's talk about the nodes, and then I think that'll be good for today. The nodes are where we look in our chart to find what our soul's journey is, so to speak. We see this chart and we think that there's this co-creation happening in these birth charts. So before you came into Earth this time, you were hoping to accomplish something. And we would say that when you co-created this, everything that you have in your chart is helping you experience areas of the human experience that you wanted to feel. And then the nodes were going to be where ultimately you wound up growing in this life. So you don't have to believe in past lives for this. You could believe earlier in life. But for the sake of the theory, it would be that in a past life, you were very strong in this upside down headphone area called the South Node. And in this life, you really want to go towards the headphones of the North Node. That it is the opposite. It is always the opposite for everyone. You come in strong in one, but eventually you release that and you grow towards the other one. So that in this life or in a past life, a South Node in Scorpio would suggest that you have felt, you have lived through some traumatic times in life. If that's not relatable to this one, it could be in a past one. But you earned your wisdom that you carry, the intensity about you, the wisdom that you have, the knowingness of some dark truths of human motivations, and the way you don't have this rose-colored glasses that you're wearing, that you see things deeper than others is a gift of yours. You have this intuition about you, and you understand this big range of human behaviors. So you feel the lowest lows, and you can feel the highest highs of all of this like human emotion. And in the third house, it could just mean that you on a daily level, on your everyday awareness level, you see that in people. You can see people's truths and you kind of can be like this human lie detector. And you know that because maybe you have been burned a few times, that you had to learn this somehow. You're not naive, you're wise. You've been through things. No one would say you're gullible. And that is the gift that you have because you're able to see truths and you're not taken for a ride. You're nobody's fool in this life. And where you're going, though, is to, at some point, release that kind of tunnel vision of knowing or thinking about other people's psyches, of getting into their deeper motivations, of holding on to wondering about what people's true intentions are and kind of being on this defense side and going to this north node of Taurus where it's a simpler energy. It is peace and it is foregoing some of these more introspective tendencies for the sake of keeping things simple and just trusting your instincts. An example of this would be getting stuck in the past of things, past traumas, or just interactions with other people and hanging on to things of their behavior that maybe did you wrong once and learning to just live more in the moment and not being in any kind of drama either way, that you're not interested so much in other people's intentions that you can just stay on your own side of the street and just live in peace because you have peace in yourself, and that's all that matters. Someone once gave me an example of this that I always hold on to because it's just funny to me, that somebody with a Scorpio South node would think to themselves that, oh gosh, like my stomach hurts. And I think it's because I'm around Annie. And I remember that she lied to me before, and I felt like she betrayed me. So now every time I'm around her, I just get like this intuition that I don't trust her. And she's probably going to lie to me again. And it makes me feel sick. But the Taurus North Node person would be around this Annie person, and their stomach would be feeling weird. And they would just think to themselves, hey, when was the last time I ate? I'm probably hungry. Yeah, I'll get a sandwich, and I don't, now my stomach feels fine. So the difference would be here that the South Node Scorpio person can just be very psychologically introspective and and have these narratives in self, where the North Node person in Taurus releases that, goes up to this higher level of thinking to where they're not worried about Annie at all or anything that happened to them or anything that's going on right now in this little community or this small town or these small-minded people. They're above it. They're in the ninth house of higher thinking, higher exploring, bigger questions. Why are we here? What's the meaning of life? Esoteric wonders, and keeping things simple and self to maintain their own peace so they don't get brought down into all that stuff. They just might try eating something and feel better and keep it simple. So it just is the shift of the psychological energy to the more of like the instinctual animal, being one with nature almost, and that we're nothing more than, complicated animals, but maybe if we fill all of our instincts, like our needs for food and rest, then that will keep us at peace so that we can explore more meaningful things with our time and releasing the need to get stuck in everyday encounters with people who bring us down or make us stuck in our own heads about things. So you are on a path to asking bigger questions and not really being super interested in the day-to-day mundane levels of living, um, but like the bigger quests in life and wanting to learn more about the things that we can't see and we don't have definite answers for, the philosophical and the esoteric, and finding peace in your pursuits to answer these questions, feeling a sense of connectedness to Mother Earth, to nature, to the simple solutions to problems, and getting this higher tranquility because of it. So I think that's a really beautiful energy to be exploring, and the chart helps you go there by already having so much of your chart of trying to get out of self. So I think it's beautiful when the chart just kind of tells that story like it does, because ultimately that's where you're going, is out of self into higher levels of exploration. So it is kind of um, a leaving of the ego sort of in your journey. So I'll stop here because I feel like that sometimes gets muddy if we go on too long, but I hope that was um, clear enough. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for your interest in this reading, and I will hopefully hear from you soon.